This is Lavina. This is the 8th of June. I think it's day number 35 of the experiment. Yesterday there was a huge amount of activity in the media. I saw that interview with Eric Johnson. He did such a great job. I was so proud of what he did. He could have slammed me, but he was very respectful and very interested, and he took a neutral point of view from what I'm doing. And so I thought he did such a good job. He couldn't have done it better. So my thanks to you, Eric. I think there has been a tremendous amount of interest stirred, both positive and negative. Oh yes, a few negative things in there. But that's okay. What it's showing me is that people are really interested in the subject. I think we've had about 10,000 hits on the website, up from 5 or 10 a day. It went up overnight to all those thousands. And then the YouTubes too. I think it's at the moment 34,000 people. I really have no picture of what that looks like, so you have to forgive me, but I know it's amazing. Today's very quiet. I guess the press have a weekend off. I'm also feeling a little exhausted from yesterday. It was an intense day. I felt really, really well, on top of form. And today I think I'm doing a lot of resting. So, but I know there's been a lot of concern. Lots of stuff on Facebook and all over the place, really. And so I wanted to address a couple of those things in this YouTube. The biggest concern I can see is that people are really, really, really concerned about my well-being, about my welfare, thinking I'm going to die. What I'm going to do is I'm going to die. And there's been a lot of heartfelt concern about that and worry. And so what I want to do now is just to allay some of that worry, because it's really not necessary. I have no doubt that I am going to stop well before I get to any point where there is any concern for me. I will go a certain part. I am doing this until I feel that I'm not going to be able to do it anymore. And every time I feel a little bit unwell, I go through this in my own mind. Is it time to stop? I also have to balance that with, well, sometimes things just last a day or two, and then it goes away. And I also know that when you're making such a major change like this, that of course things are going to happen in the body, and it might be uncomfortable for a day or two. So I really am watching that. I have no desire to get sick or to damage my body any more than you do. So I'm not going to do that. I also want you to know that I have no agenda about being right about this. I would love it to be true. I would love that humanity had this tool that could possibly save millions of lives and billions of dollars and keep our planet healthy. I mean, who wouldn't want that? But if this is really just inquiry. I'm not trying to prove it. I'm not going to go just ahead blindly on and try and prove it and destroy myself doing that, especially if it's not true. I don't care. If it's true, I want to know about it. If it's not true, I want to know about that too. If it's not true, so what? If it is true, oh my God, how incredible is that? And I think that is worth it. Just asking the question. What is wrong with asking the question? There is vast amounts of evidence around. Not concrete evidence, which is what I'm trying to do here, which is really what we need. But there's so much there that indicates the possibility that humans really can live off a source other than solid food. If I can't do it, and I might not be able to, it doesn't mean that it can't be possible. I think there are certainly requirements that a person needs to be able to do this. And I don't know if I have those. You see, I'm not coming from the point of view that I want to be a person living on light or a breatharian. I don't belong to any of that. They keep associating me with groups and yogis and this, that, and the other. And that's not true. I'm curious. And I had a calling to do this so that if it's true, the world could know about it and come out into our reality. That's my interpretation of what the calling was. I mean, who knows what existence wants with this? If I can't do it, I would want to find somebody who has been doing this for a year or two, not eating, and can be in the same space for 100 days and do what I've been trying to do. Good records. That's what we need, is records. So if I stop, that's not the end of it. Other people, I hope, will take up the baton and be able to show this, because it is so, so important. I really don't think this earth can survive in the way that we are destroying it, both with our numbers and with all the poisons that we're putting anywhere. And we're destroying our bodies with all those poisons in the food. How can we keep living like that? So, very important information if it's true. And also people talking about that I have no right to put myself in such danger. You know what? In my life, I would say this is one of the least dangerous things I have done in my life. If you had been my parents, your hair would have gone white very quickly at almost everything I've done in my life. And here I am, fine. I mean, what parents would have been excited about their 21-year-old daughter deciding to hitchhike across America and Canada and England and all the way to Istanbul and travel around the world on her own? I mean, when I think of it now, I'm going, oh my God, how could I have done that? But yes, I did. I just did it. It wasn't like I knew there was danger, but I knew I could do it. I wasn't putting myself in my own mind in any danger, and I didn't have any danger. It was just like, when you don't have the fear within you, which I don't think I ever had, you don't create the danger. A danger kind of gets attracted to fear. So when you live without fear or without too much fear, then you can do a tremendous amount more than you can do if you live with fear. Fear is our biggest limitation in life. And consciously in my life, I have been very active in seeing what my fears are, the cultural fears, the personal fears, all of those things, and doing whatever it takes to get rid of them or to let go of them. Sometimes it means facing them, and sometimes it means just getting that these are just contained within the mind as the computer. So those computer programs, through our culture conditioning, through our emotions, through everything that we think of as truth, they instill amazing fears into us. And so if you want to live by your fears, you live a really limited life. If you choose to let go of those fears, life becomes very different. So I have spent a lot of time in my life getting rid of fears. So doing this to me is just like nothing. I can't see what's fearful in this at all. And so I just want to reassure you that, no, this is not scary. This is just normal. I'm not even going to tell you all the things I've done in my life. I have told you about the firewalking. I mean, that in itself is probably one of the biggest fears a person could have. To walk across the hottest fire in the world has to be blown up to that heat. Hotter than melts silver, or about what melts silver. And you walk there with bare feet. I don't think physics can explain that. And the fear that stops you. If that fear stops you, you can't do it. But yes, I did it. And people do it. So fear plays a big part in this. So you have to know that I'm not afraid of doing this. It's just like walking down the road to me. I'm certainly not going to hurt myself. So you can just allow that fear to go and don't worry about it. If I start fainting all over the place, if I start feeling sick and doing all sorts of things, I'm the biggest baby. I was thinking this morning when I wasn't feeling so well, is it time to stop? Is it time to keep, you don't know. So I would be out before anybody else says anything. And you know what's true is that people who know the science in the normal scientific way can't see this. They really can't see it. I mean, I understand where they're coming from when they say that this is starvation, the body's cannibalizing itself, because that's what happens in that particular way of looking. So at this point too, I want a little bit of a mention here about the impact of consciousness, because in all our science, the person doing it has always been left out, been taken totally out of any experiment. So, but they're starting to include consciousness, and people are finding out that that makes a vast difference to everything. When I saw these experiments about drops of water, and the drop of water has a cellular structure, and that cellular structure of the atom of water, or the drop of water, would change as a person walked by, depending on the mood of the person. I mean, that's unbelievable. Can't believe that. Unless you start looking at the subatomic level, which is what quantum physics does. But to see that a person's emotions or feelings or thoughts, even something written on a piece of paper, can change the cellular structure of a drop of water, that is mind-boggling. To realize that we as a human consciousness, I don't know about animals or plants, but human, can change everything in our surroundings. We can look at something and it will change it. I think they talk about that as the wave and the particle. Once a person pays attention to something, the wave changes into a particle, the same wave. I don't understand that, but I understand from that the human consciousness has a total impact upon what we look at as reality. And I think for living on light, that is probably a key thing. A person with a consciousness that says, yes, I can do this. I am living on light, changes the outcome. So when somebody is looking at this, which is of course everything in our culture tells us that it can't be done, they will look at something and create, it can't be done. They really create that. It's literal in the outside world, it can't be done. But if you can change your consciousness and say, yes, it can be done. I am doing it. This is it. That will change the outside reality. Now that's a big step to take. But is it not worth looking at? Is it not worth taking a tiny little risk or two to see what's possible? I mean, what are the stakes here? Somebody like me who's saying, let's go see, let's go do it. Maybe I don't feel well for a couple of days. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. There's no risk there. On the other side of that, finding a technology that can save the world. Save the world, not feel very well for a day. Where's the danger? So I just really want to reassure you, and that's all I want to do at the moment. I have a lot of questions coming in on Facebook. I'm finding it hard keeping up with all of that, so please forgive me if I don't answer specifically. You've been very kind. Some people haven't. But, you know, it doesn't matter. What I wanted was for people to look at the question. And I think with this whole media thing, this is what's opening up. And there's people out there who really are interested in this and who have a lot more to offer than I have. I don't know much about this thing. I'm simply doing it. That was my calling, just to do it. I knew I could do it. You know, I knew I could hitchhike around the world on my own. I knew I could walk across fire. I didn't know intellectually, of course, I didn't know really, because how can you know those things until you do it? But I kind of knew that if anybody could, I could. And I still don't know if I can. So But I do want to assure you that I literally will stop if that's what's needed. And I'd be happy to hand the baton over to somebody else who would really like to do that too, who knows that they are doing it already. They have a lot more credibility. And I think this information is just so important. Whether it's negative or positive doesn't matter. If it's true, it needs to be known. If it's not true, it needs to be known. I really don't have any agenda either way, so you're not going to have to worry about me. Please don't. I'm intelligent enough to know when something is not working, and I don't have an agenda to keep going just to prove something, because I'm not interested in proving it. I'm interested in finding out. So thank you, and I shall see what the next one's going to be about, what the subject's going to be about. So have a nice weekend.